Hello aligned minds and welcome back to The Voice Within. Today I want to bring one interesting conversation about words. I want to talk to you about what certain word means and how did I came to start exploring what do words mean, how they are shaped, what is the energy behind them, and how actually all of that understanding together makes us move, makes us understand how we position our conversation in a different way that help us understand ourselves better and understand the people around us, and at the same time how it helps us to communicate better. I always felt that certain energy around certain words, some things can be said in a certain way and they transmit different energy, or could I say it, they create different emotion inside when we hear them comparing to the other words. Some of the words, some of the sentences, when we shape them, they speak conviction, they speak confidence, they speak, there is no mess with this person. But other words, they speak softness, they speak something very gentle, that there is a space for negotiation inside of those words. And because over-explaining was one of the things which was blocking me a lot in my personal development journey, something which I noticed that I'm doing, that I'm justifying my actions, my choices, even the simplest one, which was putting me in the position to always wait for permission, and simultaneously it was delaying my own progress. So I was focusing a lot on over-explaining, and conversation and the way we shape our words is the part of over-explaining. So I was always trying to understand, why do I do it? I was trying to understand, how can I stop? I was trying to understand that discomfort that comes when I state something and I don't follow with because. I don't follow with explanation why certain thing I do the way I do, why certain thing I'm choosing the way I'm choosing. So I spent a great deal of my time exploring the words, the energy behind them, and how actually they are helping or not helping me to become the version of myself that I want to be. And we all know those situations where somebody says something, but when they say it with a certain energy, it creates different emotion in us, especially when we are face to face to somebody. When they say something, it can be like blah, like low energy, or it can be like very conviction, very strong, somebody who uncovers the confidence within. And inside of that study that I was making on the way I'm shaping my words, on the way I'm talking, I was and I am paying a great deal of attention in the way I am pronouncing some words. What do they mean? How can I shape them better? How can I form them better so I get in communication better response with the people, to don't create conflict, to don't create tension between me and the person I'm communicating with. To be able to do that, we have to really start understanding the way we communicate, and a lot of the way we communicate actually is based on how we grew up, what was modeled to us, how are the people around us, what did they teach us, and at the same time, how is our relationship with ourselves? Because what we think about ourselves, this is what we communicate. What is sitting inside, this is what is coming out. If there is a lot of confidence in us, if there is strong self-esteem, strong self-trust, strong self-belief, the words that are coming out of our mouth are transmitting that kind of energy. But if we are unsure, if we are not in our conviction, if we are scared and terrified and trying to protect ourselves, those words will actually represent that kind of energy. Once I started going into exploring the words, how am I shaping them, paying attention when I say some sentences or the certain words, I would analyze it later and try to understand, why did I say it in that way? Was I scared of the reaction? Did I said it because I was thinking that I need to justify some things? Did I try to make myself to be above somebody or below somebody? Is there was any kind of power game in it? Was I felt threatened by another person? All of these things, they contribute, or awareness about it, they contribute to the way we communicate and how actually we change it. That's why the awareness is such an important piece of puzzle in the personal development. In doing so, I started realizing how different my responses have become when I changed the way I shape the words. Not when the situation itself changed, but when I started understanding the words better. What is the root of the words? Where does the word coming from? Often I would realize that in different languages, different words would represent that emotion or the state of being better. I often found that English language, for example, is kind of shallow in expressing the emotions. It's a business language and it's lacking a lot of depth in communication. It's lacking a lot of depth in how we express ourselves. And why is this so important? When we are able to express exactly what we feel better. When we are seen, when we are heard, and when we can articulate what do we feel better. We are faster to calm down. If we take example of the toddlers, of the children, they are throwing tantrums, they are crying because they cannot express themselves. And what modern parenting methods are teaching us to give the words to our children. Are you feeling angry now? Are you sad? Is this what you're feeling? We're teaching them to express their emotions in words. That itself makes them calm. So it is the same thing for us adults. If we don't have exactly words to describe what we are feeling, we feel stuck. It's like we all felt it, that feeling of, I feel something and I don't know how to say it. Then we are going around and we're trying to explain to another person what we are feeling, but we feel like we are missing that word, that point where we can exactly describe what is inside of us. And the more I was expanding my studies about the language, about the words, about the energy behind it, I realized that the more words I have, the bigger my vocabulary is, I was better in regulating my own emotions. And like I said, I was noticing that the English language itself, it's kind of shallow. It doesn't show the depth of the emotions, and it's often very hard to describe what we are feeling in a certain words in English. Then what I would do is I would try to find the word in Bosnian to see how that same word is translated in the Bosnian language. Is it deep enough? Does it showing what am I feeling, or what am I understanding, or what am I trying to communicate in a better way than English language? And often that was the case. When I would replace the word in Bosnian and found translate for it, I felt like I'm aligned more, like actually that word represent exactly what I'm feeling. And what is interesting is that even often I couldn't find word in Bosnian language, then I would talk to my husband because he's Arabic, he speaks Arabic, or to my son, he's fluent in Arabic as well. I would ask for the certain words from them to see, do they have it in Arabic, which could exactly explain the state of being or understanding of something in a better way. And as Arabic is the most rich language in the world and they have the words for literally everything, I would often found representation of my emotion or something which I'm trying to understand better in Arabic language. So whenever I was trying to understand the word deeper and better, and what is the root of the word, where does it coming from? A lot of words that we use, they come from the Latin language. When I would look deeply into the word and what is representing, I would gain bigger understanding of my own emotions, of what I'm feeling, and what that word actually means, what that word actually represents. Because often I notice that certain words, we are using them in wrong position. We think that they mean something, but those words actually mean completely something different. And when we gain understanding of what those words actually mean, we start to have better understanding of ourselves. Because words, they aren't just language, they shape the meaning we assign to emotion, and that meaning shapes our reactions. What we understand about something will shape how we react on the things. And in this journey of understanding the words, I learned that if I misunderstood what I feel, I will misrespond to it. If I don't understand exactly what I feel and I cannot put it in my words exactly the way I feel it, I will act wrongly. I will misrespond because I didn't really understand what I feel. That's why often when we're listening some podcasts, or when we're reading in a books, or when we're listening somebody talking about something which resonates with us, it's like in the moment that activation, in the moment that feeling of, oh my God, nobody ever said it that way. Oh my my God, now I understand it. Because that person borrows their own vocabulary to describe what we feel. And when it clicks, when we finally find the words for what we are feeling, we feel like relief. We feel like kind of energized because finally we have words that we can put our emotion in. So I was exploring a lot words like confidence, self-esteem, responsibility, all of this kind of words, what actually they mean. I would dig in the dictionary and try to find where is the root from. What does it actually mean? What does it describing? Is there a better representation of this word in Arabic language or in Bosnian language that can make me understand what is hidden behind that word? And once I understand that word, my responses will change and I will be more aligned with my soul, with the way I feel when I can articulate better what I feel, when I can explain better what is inside of me. And one of the words which was sitting on my chest for a long time is resentment. It's one of those feelings where it feels bitter inside, but I always felt that the word resentment doesn't mean what I actually thought it mean. When we say the word resentment, it would be like we are hurted, we are frustrated, we are angry at others. This word, I used to understand it in this way. Something that other people did which created emotional reaction in me. So I am angry on whatever they did. But once I started digging into this word, I was actually not angry at them. I was angry at myself for allowing something that other people did towards me. In Bosnian, we call resentment ogorčenost, a kind of bitterness that stays in your body long after the moment passed, something which is like lingering inside of you even when the actual situation is gone, where actual problem is finished, the fight or argument is done. It's like something which stays in your body and circling around for longer than the situation itself. And once I found the word in Bosnian, which is ogorčenost, I understood that resentment, it's not just that we are hurted by what somebody did. We are hurted by the fact that we didn't do anything when everything started, that we didn't speak, that we didn't shift, that we didn't move, that we didn't protect ourselves, and now we feel stuck. It's like we felt in the moment that we're supposed to do something, that we're supposed to step up for ourselves, and we didn't do it because of different reasons, and now we feel that bitterness inside for not stepping up for ourselves. And we often say, I am resentful at you, I am resentful because you did this. But when I started looking into the core of the words and when I started replacing it, in this case with the Bosnian language, I understood that I am not angry at other people. I am angry at myself because I didn't stop whatever was happening before even resentfulness built up. Resentment is like the way your body tells you, you abandoned yourself here. You did something against yourself here. And when you think about it, you cannot be resentful at other people. You cannot feel that bitterness like towards other people. You will feel frustration or anger or disappointment. But bitterness, it's coming from us. We are resentful on ourselves for allowing something. But on the surface, it looks like it's about other people. So in that case, I could say that the resentment is like misplaced blame. It feels like we are mad at others, but what we are actually feeling is grief and anger towards our own silence, towards our own hesitation, towards our own collapse, that we didn't do something to stop that situation in the first place. And it's very logical to think that the resentment is about what somebody did. But if you really go deeper, you will see that we don't resent the actions of other people. We resent our response to that actions. That's why resentment felt so kind of sticky to me. It's not just anger at other people. It's like a disappointment in ourselves that we could do something and we didn't do it, that we could name something, we didn't do it, that we could choose differently and we didn't do it. And then once we don't do it, the resentment comes. It comes that voice which says, why didn't I say something sooner? Why I didn't set boundaries? How could I allow this to myself? This is when the resentment or ogorčenost in Bosnian builds up, that bitterness inside of us. It's like we betrayed ourselves. if we look into the word resentment, the word resentment comes from the Latin resentire, which means to feel again. So it doesn't mean rage, it doesn't mean injustice. It literally means I am refeeling something I didn't deal with in the first place. So if we say that the resentment means to feel again, it is understandable to say resentment is not fresh emotion. It's not something we just came in a moment. It's like recycled pain. It's a loop. I felt anger and I felt that I need to set boundaries and I felt I need to speak up and I felt need to protect myself. Then I didn't do that. Now I'm resentful. I'm recycling emotions that I didn't act on in the first place. Now I'm resentful. And we barely ever say that we are resentful on ourselves. We say that we are resentful on other people because to us it looks like they did that. They made me angry. Now I'm resentful because they did it again. This is the logical explanation, the way we see it. But the fact is that nobody can make us feel certain things if we don't allow it. What I mean by this, if somebody is crossing our boundaries and we allow them to cross our boundaries, we allow them that they, with their behavior, create certain emotion in us. But if we set boundaries from the beginning, we don't allow them that they create certain behavior in us with their actions. So it's easy to say, I am resentful because they did this. But what we actually saying is, I am resentful because I didn't protect myself. I am resentful because I didn't step up for myself. I am resentful because I didn't act on what I felt in a moment is true for me. Now I am resentful. I'm recycling the pain again of not protecting myself in the moment. Let's go into a few examples. The way I like to describe everything is in examples so we can understand it better. Let's say you reminded your partner few times to handle something in the house, but he forgets. He smiles at it, he says, I will do it later, but inside you feel like you are invisible. Or let's say you sit with your friend and she is venting for the hours, she is talking about her problems, you are listening her, supporting her, holding space for her, but whenever you go through something hard, she doesn't do nothing. She doesn't even ask how you're feeling. And in that moment, you don't say nothing because you don't want to feel like needy or the one who asks too much. But that feeling that you didn't act on what you felt inside you're supposed to do, that feeling, that resentfulness, it stays within you. Or let's say you make dinner every night or you make lunch every day and you clean, you show up, you do everything for your family, but deep inside you would really love to get thank you mom. You would really love to get that acknowledgement from the people for everything you do. But you're doing it because you feel it's a part of your role. But in your chest, deep inside, something feels heavy. Something feels like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to? Why they don't notice it? Or let's say if we have a situation where we didn't want to go out, we are exhausted, but we said, yes, we went to family visit, we accept visitors, we do something against what we felt. And now we feel like we are angry at other people for not respecting our boundaries when we didn't set the boundaries in the first place. We feel resentful. But basically we feel resentful on ourselves because we didn't step up for what we needed in that moment. So basically, in all of these examples, we could say it's not boundary that is being crossed. It is boundary we didn't enforce. And this is why we are angry or why we are resentful. So once I started understanding resentfulness better, I realized that resentment begins when anger is ignored. When instead of speaking, instead of reacting, instead of protecting ourselves, we justify, we delay, we excuse, we swallow. So resentfulness builds up not when the people do something again, but when we abandon ourselves again, when we swallow it again, when we accept it again, when we accept that kind of behavior from other people towards us. This is when the resentfulness builds up. But then we can say, okay, but if I speak, something might happen. They could reject me. We don't stay quiet because we are weak. It's not that we don't protect ourselves because we cannot protect ourselves. We are more than capable of setting the boundaries, speaking up, saying loud and clear. We stay quiet, we don't do nothing because there is a part of us that believes that if we speak, if we act on what it feels true to us, we will lose something from other people. We will lose love, we will lose safety, we will lose approval, harmony. So out of that fear, the protecting part of us kicks in and we tell ourselves a story. It's not worth of it, it will pass, it is just phase, they are small, he didn't hear me, don't start a fight, just remove this. Who cares? Just important that it's clean. But that feeling of resentfulness stays within. It doesn't pass. It starts to pile up. So resentment, it's like a cost of emotional trade-off. I feel that I need to do something, but I don't do because I'm scared how other people will react if I do. So instead of acting on what I feel is true for me, I quiet myself. I don't act on it to protect whatever. Relationship, situation, peace, myself, other people, comfort. I stay quiet. I don't do nothing. And it's like a trade-off. I traded my truth for something else. But the feeling inside doesn't go. It piles up. The resentfulness builds up. Trade-off after trade-off. And then we become very, very bitter inside. So now the question is, okay, if I feel that in a moment I want to do something, if I feel in a moment that I need to set my boundaries, if I feel in a moment that I should act on what is true for me, but I am terrified of if I do that I will get reaction from other people. How do I actually bypass this? How do I overcome this? And we overcome it first of all with being honest about where we keep allowing this kind of behavior and understanding why do we allowing it. It's like taking radical self-responsibility about how we show up in relationship with other people. And taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for someone else's action. It means I am responsible. How am I responding or reacting in this moment? And I can choose to change my response. And we often have wrong understanding of that every communication, every argument or disagreement supposed to be in peace. It's like we don't understand that there is the situation where us stepping up for ourselves will create discomfort in other people, and this is not our responsibility. How other people are feeling about what we do is their own responsibility, is their own resentfulness that they will feel if they don't act on it. It's like a same game. If we allowing something that other people are doing, we will feel resentful. It's our own responsibility to step up for ourselves and not allow resentfulness to build up in the first place. At the same time, the other person is free and responsible to react on their own alignment, to react on the way they feel about what we do. Does it harming them? Are they angry? Are they bitter on us? And they have responsibility to act on it. And if tension does build up between the people in the relationship, any kind of relationship, based on our new action where we are stopping resentfulness to build up in the first place, if reaction comes and the people don't like it, this is what we always avoid. This is what we're trying to prevent by staying silent. But if we are honest with ourselves, that reaction that was created in other people is created in the moment when we step for ourselves. So relationship itself was able to maintain as long as we are quiet. Then we need to ask ourselves, is that real relationship in the first place? Any kind of relationship. If when I protect myself, when I say what is bothering me, what I don't like, what I don't allow, will make the friction in this relationship, that means that that relationship was not strong in the first place. That relationship was built up on us staying silent. So as long as we don't speak, as long as we don't step up for ourselves, as long as we don't say what is bothering us, as long as we don't set the boundaries, the relationship on the surface looks intact. But as soon as we protect ourselves, as soon as we are authentic and we say what is on our mind, that relationship becomes fragile and there is friction. So it's clear to ask ourselves what kind of relationship that is in the first place. Acting on what we feel inside in the moment, it can become like a testing ground for how strong are our relationships, how the people will react. And then at the same time, we have to understand that if we've been doing for majority of our life certain things, the people around us, they got used to it on that version of us. So when we suddenly show up in a different light, when we suddenly speak our mind, put our boundaries in place, when we protect ourselves, when we are authentic, of course that the people will be confused. You gave me one version of you for all of my life, now you are somebody else. Of course they feel like we changed. But the people who truly loves us and accept us will just take some time to get adjusted. Maybe they will get curious about it, but they will never reject us because we are protecting ourselves. Actually, they will love us and understand us more, and they will actually want us to do that for ourselves. Some of the people in my life, when I told them that I'm just stepping up for myself, that I'm protecting myself more, my inner world more, I'm not trying to harm anybody, but I'm just paying attention more on myself, they were actually very proud. And a lot of people close people from my environment told me it was about time. That means that even them, they saw it for good portion of my life that I was not stepping up for myself, that I was going silent, not speaking up just to protect the energy of a relationship. And by doing that, the resentfulness was building up. And when resentfulness piles up and comes too much to the roof, this is when we explode. This is when we are reactive. This is when we shout, when we scream. This is when we lecture people around us because they didn't stop doing what they did. This is how it looks like to us. Now we are screaming for them to stop, but we didn't set boundaries in the first place. So we say, I was resentful until I couldn't keep it. Now I'm shouting and I'm trying to make you change that, whatever you're doing, so I don't have to take action in changing myself. This is how the inner game looks inside. For us, it means I will shout at you, I will scream at you, so you stop doing this. But beneath is, you stop doing that, so I don't have to take responsibility of stopping you myself. Because again, we are terrified. If we stop any kind of behavior from other people towards us, that they will reject us. But we don't understand that the relationship that are built up on our silence are not the relationship to begin with. The strong relationship will always stay and always progress in something better and grow in something better when they were truth in the first place, when the people loved us and accept us for who we are regardless. And now we can say, okay, Arva, you told us all of this, it looks nice, it looks beautiful, but how do we actually stop being resentful? How do we actually change something? The first thing is, the awareness about this, it activates something in us. After you listen all of this podcast episode, maybe the bulbs in your head light up and you understood, oh my God, yeah, I had that feeling, that resentfulness, not because they did something, but because I didn't prevent it, because I didn't protect myself. And that puts responsibility on you. And responsibility doesn't, or it's not something bad, it's a power. When I am responsible to make decisions for myself, that means I am in power of myself. I can change the course of my life. It's like when I'm teaching my son how independency is amazing and how being independent is very powerful. He is now in this stage of his life where he's between big boy and a little bit baby, so he's trying sometimes to be more baby than he's big, and I'm trying to teach him and prepare him for stepping up into independency, into a being big boy. So I always try to explain him why independency is so powerful. When you are independent or responsible, you are responsible for your actions, you are responsible for your responses, you are responsible for your choices. And that might seem terrifying, but at the same time, it's such a power. It means that you are a person in your individuality and you can make choices for yourself. And when you're standing in that center, you become unshakable. So in our case, instead of looking at responsibility like something bad, like a blame on ourselves, we can shape it in a way of understanding, okay, if I am responsible, if I'm stepping up in radical responsibility, that means that I have power to change this, that I have power to stop this resentfulness, that I have power to act before I go in collapse and start screaming at everybody. So resentment will not go away with journaling, with venting, with talking in the mirror. It goes away in those micro decisions, micro moments when we take different action when the same pattern knocks on the door. When we just stop expecting people to read our mind, to read our silence, to understand us, and we start actually speaking about what we need. We let the clarity from our soul speak. We free ourselves, not expecting other people to read us, to understand us, to manage us, but we actually say what we feel, and we know what we feel. We know what is inside of us. We are just terrified to speak about it. But something magical happens when we start in those micro decisions, micro moments, is that confidence about it builds up. We create more evidences that we are able to do that, and we start stepping out in our power, and we feel, wait a minute, I can do this. I don't have to feel resentful. I don't have to shout at people. I don't have to scream to make them hear me. I can speak before the tension builds up, protect my inner world, and everything what's supposed to go and what it used to go after that disappears. Now I'm in peace with myself, and we become addicted to do it, because then we start understanding the peace that we were searching a long time actually sits within us. We have responsibility and power to change it, to create that peace, and we create it in those moments when we act on what we feel inside is right for us. So for the end of the episode, my understanding of resentfulness and words and how we feel about certain words is that the faster we act on understanding and awareness we have, the faster we step up for ourselves, we step into our power, even in those small moments, micro decisions, the faster we move from identity which keeps us in the place of feeling like victim. We don't heal resentment by processing it, by thinking about it. Why did I do this? And why did I say this? And we don't heal it that way. Analyzing it in the way of gaining awareness about it is important part. But if we don't act on it, it just stays in our head. We just have cognitive understanding of it, but we don't have embodiment. We heal resentment by ending the pattern itself that creates it. We set our boundaries before we build resentfulness. We speak our mind before anything happens. We start acting on our inner alignment before we bring ourselves to collapse. And by doing this, decision per decision, change per change, we start building confidence about it. We start creating evidences that we can step up for ourselves. We start respecting ourselves. We start stepping into power. We start feeling better self-esteem, more joyful, more aligned, and we feel magical about ourselves. So everything starts in those moments when we end the pattern that creates the bitterness that we feel. That will be it for this podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed. I did. And until the next week, I wish you a beautiful rest of the day. Bye.